Martial arts are all about nuance. There's nuances about a great deal of things that people take for granted. For instance, you need to spar. Absolutely, you do. But a lot of clash comes to as what people define sparring. Look at someone like Dominic Izzo. In my opinion, he's got the best explanations on how Wing Chun works and what it actually is, what the point of all these concepts are. But he also openly talks about YouTube's obsession with sparring. So then a lot of people think that, oh, he's against sparring. Now, I don't want to get in all that and talk about Dominic Izzo because that's not the point. But it made me think about defining sparring. And the thing is, most specific, complex demonstrations look like bullshit when it's not in sparring. And a tremendous amount of BJJ is that way. So when Wing Chun people are focusing on a single skill or a drill that addresses a specific moment that happens in fighting, where for instance a lot of things that you do in Chi Sao comes into play, a lot of people go, well, you just get punched in the face. And then you're like, well, I wouldn't be doing this if I'm gonna get punched in the face, I'm gonna do that. Well, if you do that, you could still get punched in the face. Then it's like, show me footage of it in sparring. The worst thing is, you do. There's loads of sparring videos online with Wing Chun. But my question back to those people is, why don't people say that when BJJ guys roll? It's still considered sparring, rolling. You're still doing it live. But there's no punches, there's no strikes. Like, you can easily pull guard. While in reality, you don't want to do that. You'd get punched to oblivion. And nobody says that to BJJ guys. So what they say is, well, sure, you could get punched in the face, but this specific skill is important for actual fighting, and we've tested it and we've shown it thousands of times. Which is true. BJJ is obviously awesome. Like, there's no denying that. Nobody's doing that. But this is specific, this is nuance. So then sparring doesn't always need to replicate a full-on fight with strikes, elbows, knees, takedowns, submissions, whatever. It can be a certain element of fighting that's tested live. So that's okay. That's how we're defining it. It's an element of fighting that's done live that we know is a part of fighting. And I'll come back to that. But first, what happens when you do show them proof? So, show me sparring. And then you do show sparring with Wing Chun stuff. Then they say, but that's just fighting. No shit! That's what it's supposed to be. If somebody talks about Wing Chun structure, and then a takedown defense, like Dominic in this old video, people say, oh, that looks weird, and it's Wing Chun, so it's bullshit. So are you telling me that these moments right here are bullshit? That this isn't real takedown defense? While it's exactly in line what that concept right there was. It's not always the deep sprawl. There's much more to takedown defense. And regardless, even in this case with Dominic Izzo, even if he doesn't spar anymore, what does that have to do with the rest of Wing Chun people who do spar? Look at Silala, look at this shit. Look at this crazy stuff. So there's people who fight and show these concepts, but they're never gonna look flabby happy. They're always gonna look like fighting. And that's the whole point. So all these skills from Chi Sao, the sensitivity, the understanding of structure, position, trapping to go forward, to keep pressuring, all translates into a genuine part of fighting, which is clinch, hand fighting, close range stuff. So if you choose to spar with that range or that position, that goal in mind, it's an element of fighting that exists, that happens. You're just zooming in on one area of fighting to get more skilled in that. That's what Chi Sao and Gor Sao sparring stuff is. Saying that you would get kicked in the face, you would get taken down, is the same thing that if somebody's rolling and there's no punches, just BJJ rolling, it's like, well, you just get punched in the face. It's not the point. So yeah, focusing on a specific element of fighting and honing in on that and advancing that specific skill is fine. And of course, unfortunately, most Wing Chun people don't spar and don't train realistically. And even when they do sort of spar with Chi Sao and stuff like that, they don't do it realistically. So I'm not blaming people for thinking that this is bullshit, that people think that Wing Chun absolutely sucks. What I am annoyed is when Wing Chun people that are good, that really know what they're doing, that are actually fighting and sparring, they also get the same crap, which does not apply to them. It's all about how you define sparring. So I don't know where this is exactly going, but yeah. all my positions are tentative anyway. They're all subject to revision and to change. So I could be totally wrong about everything, and that's fine. But this is my view on what happens in martial arts circles when it comes to traditional stuff like Wing Chun. That good Wing Chun guys take all that bullshit that they don't deserve. And it goes beyond just Wing Chun, which is unfortunate, and I'd like that people think with a bit more nuance. I even talked to Rob from McDojo Live, and he himself, who's never trained Wing Chun, also thinks that it's a very misunderstood martial art. So yeah, that's the video. It was the exploration type thing. You can discuss in the comments below, and agreements and disagreements. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.